All right, everyone. Have you ever opened up a spreadsheet full of data and just felt kind of lost? Like you're staring at a wall of numbers and text? Well, today we're going to tackle that exact feeling. We're going to take a messy pile of data about pumpkins and learn how to make it tell us a clear and useful story.
And that story starts with a really simple question, one you might have even wondered about yourself. When is the best time of year to buy pumpkins? Now, to answer that, we can't just guess. We need to look at the data.
But here's our first big hurdle. When we look at the raw data, it's a mess. Seriously, we've got empty cells, and just look at this package column. The values are all over the place. How on earth do you compare the price of pumpkins sold each versus those sold in bushel cartons? The short answer is, you can't. Not like this.
So let's just put a name to these issues, right? We've got those empty cells, we've got totally inconsistent text, and a bunch of mixed up units of measurement. To put it simply, our data is currently unreliable. If we tried to analyze it right now, we'd get a completely meaningless answer.
This is where a super important process comes in called data cleaning, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. We're going to find and fix all these messy, inaccurate parts of our data set. Believe me, it's the most essential first step to getting answers you can actually trust.
Now, to guide our whole cleaning process, we need one clear goal. And for us, that goal is this: find the average price of pumpkins for each month. If we can do that, we can nail down the best months to get a good deal. Simple as that.
So here's our high-level game plan. First, we'll isolate only the data that's actually relevant to our question. Then, we'll create some new, more helpful information from what we already have. And finally, we'll standardize everything so we're making fair apples to apples. Or, I guess in this case, pumpkins to pumpkins comparisons.
So let's put that plan into action. Our cleanup is going to happen in 4 basic steps. We'll filter, we'll drop, we'll create, and finally, we'll normalize. Let's dive right into that first one.
First up, filtering. To make any sense of the prices at all, we absolutely need a consistent unit. So we're getting rid of all the rows where pumpkins were sold per dozen or each, and we're only keeping the ones measured in bushels. This gives us a solid common ground to start from.
And hey, what about those empty cells we were worried about? Well, we're in luck. The key columns we need, that's date, price, and package, they're all complete. This means we can skip the super tedious step of filling in missing data. That's a really nice win for us.
Okay, next up, we simplify. Our dataset has all these columns we just don't need, things like the pumpkin variety or the city it was sold in. By dropping these, we just eliminate all that noise and we can focus only on the columns that actually matter for answering our question.
And you can really see the difference here. We've gone from this wide, kind of cluttered table to a lean, focused one with just the essentials. See? It's already so much easier to work with. Now for step 3, creating new data. This is where it gets fun. We have columns for low price and high price, so we can easily calculate an average price for each entry. We can also look at the date column and just pull out the month. This is how we start to engineer the exact information we need to answer our big question.
Okay, we are getting really close, but there is one last kinda subtle problem that we have to solve. Even after all our filtering, there's still a hidden inconsistency lurking in our data.
And here it is. Here's that hidden problem. See, even though we filtered for bushels, the amount of pumpkin in each package isn't the same. Some are sold in 1 1/9 bushel cartons, while others are in half bushel cartons. We still can't compare their prices directly. It's not a fair fight.
So that brings us to our final and maybe most important step, normalizing the price. To get a standard price, we'll do a simple calculation. For instance, if a half bushel costs $15, we can figure out that a full bushel would cost $30, right? We just double it. By applying that same logic to every single entry, we can make sure every price reflects the cost of one single bushel.
And here is the result of all that hard work. Just look at this beautiful, clean table. We've got our month, our original package size, our calculated average price, and, most importantly, our final standardized price per bushel. Everything is consistent, it's logical, and it's ready.
And with that final step, our work here is done. We've successfully transformed a messy, confusing data set into a clean, powerful tool that is finally ready to give us some real, actual answers. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our original question. Now that our data is clean and standardized, we can finally ask it, which month are pumpkins actually the cheapest? Well, the next step is to visualize this data to see the answer pop right out. So,
What do you think the data is going to show?